Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Hawk Blogger Mornings. In fact, we're just crossing over into afternoon, but happy to be with you. Not quite the warm weather we've had out here at Virginia Mason Athletic Center on day 3 at Seahawks training camp, but my day is brightened right now because we're joined by Derick Hall, the edge rusher for the Seattle Seahawks third year. Derick, man, how you doing?
Man, I'm blessed. I can't complain. Thank you for having me.
Well, I see you're eating your lunch here. You packed up there with some protein. What do we got? What's your go-to meal here at the VMAC?
A go-to meal. What I think they make best is probably a little bit of the barbecue, like the ribs.
They're doing ribs up there, huh?
The steak and onions. Well, that was yesterday. The steak and onions is really good. They have some really good protein. So food's really good. Andrew and them do a good job. And like I said, my diet's been a big thing for me. So being steadfast on that, trying to eat the right things to make sure I take care of my body.
Is your diet the same as it was as a rookie, or is it different?
Completely different, night and day.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Rookie year was kind of like a college deal where it's like, man, I can eat whatever. It's going to burn off. And, year by year, the older you get, you start to feel the difference in how you eat and, how your body takes things and different things like that. So being able to try to eat right and eat clean, man, that was huge for me going into this year. Last year was all about, football wise, taking care of my body a little more. Now it's adding to that and doing my diet the right way and the way it should be. So it's going really well for me.
Is that something that you kind of came onto on your own, or is it something that, a vet or someone else kind of turned you onto?
No, just myself, man. Just like going through my rookie year, knowing what I need to do going to year 2, getting to year 2, my FBI, my football, just being able to slow down for me a little bit. Okay, now let's start learning how to take care of my body better. Not that I wasn't doing it, but doing it, in a lot better course. And now, okay, I'm doing those things really well. Okay, now let's add something else, and that's my diet. So,
well, if I'm following you correctly on social, you're a fisherman.
Yep.
So is fish a big part of your meal plan?
Oh yeah, I love fish. When I'm at home, obviously in the off season during the summer, man, I fish a lot. I fish, try to fish 3-4 times a week if I can, and that's not including the truck stuff. So I have to spread it pretty even. But I mean, I go out, I catch the fish, I come back home and I cook it immediately fresh. So it's nothing like, thinking like, man, this fish is just in the water a couple hours ago. Now I'm sitting here eating. It's pretty cool.
Have you done any fishing out here? Or are you mostly back home?
All back home. I haven't done any fishing out here. I want to try to get into it and learn a little bit.
Yeah.
But man, it's just a lot of rules out here. With the when you can fish something one day, when you can't fish it the next. You got to have a 2-pole endorsement to carry 2 fishing rods. Just a lot. So I haven't got into it yet.
We got to get you up to Alaska, pulling salmon out of that river. Oh man, it's a crazy experience. And if you love fishing, it's a place to do it. So, you talk about last year, man. Obviously, a big breakout year for you. You and I talked before the season. You came with bad intentions last year. What do you do after a year like that? Coming into this year, what's your focus?
Yeah, man, I think you just stay steadfast. They always say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So continue to do what I did and figure out where can I help my game grow. So right now for me, it's the details, the small things, picking out how can I change my angle here? Okay, what about my hand placement here? Okay, what about grabbing and clamping and fighting the pressure with pressure and, seeing the width of the tight ends and, what that may possibly do, seeing how the tackle does this and playing that game with the tackle and the pass rush. So it's just about all details, man, starting to hone in. Not worried about so much about the game and trying to do everything right. And it's starting to slow down, in year 2 and then year 3 is where you typically hone in on the details, man, and start doing tick for tat with your game to try to become a master at it.
All right. I'm going to tell you a stat that you led the entire NFL in last year. Mm-hmm. I want you to guess before I tell you. If you had to guess, what stat do you think you led all defenders in the NFL in last year? It's a little bit obscure, but it's a pretty good one.
Hit, run, pass.
Get hit. It's sack related.
Oh man, sack related.
All right, I'm going to let you off the hook. I had you for a second, but fishing wise, I'm going to let you get back to sea. You led the entire NFL in first down sacks.
Okay.
You had five of your 8 sacks last year came on first down. Mm-hmm. And Adam Dirty you were talking with him, and he was like, Boye was a really big third down guy. Derick, man, we got to kind of he's just going off every single down. We kind of got to help him, figure out when to have his most effort. Obviously, first down was a big down for you. Any reason you think that was a place you shined?
I think, Just looking at breakdowns, a lot of stuff that you see, those are the downs where you steal the opportunities, first and second down. Those are where you steal the opportunity and been able to get those sacks. That'd be a lot of play action pass, a lot of different things like that with the personnel. So being able to steal those plays here and there, and again, go back to the details on what you see and your film study throughout the week and try to find something to steal that niche on first down, I think is huge.
A rookie came in last year for the Rams, Jared Verse, and made a big name with his kind of speed to power game. And I've talked a lot with folks that I see a lot of similarities in your power is a huge calling card for how you get at it. Who do you pick up things from around the league? Obviously DeMarcus Lawrence is coming to the locker room. But any places you look to add to your game from where you started last year?
I'm a big Von guy. Everybody knows it. Like, who's your pass rusher guy? Is Von Miller. Like the way he plays the game, the way he gets to his power, man, is amazing. He makes it all look the same. So that's the part about me, again, going back to the details of going to my game, trying to make all the rushes look the same. The load and explode in his game and the way he goes about, setting it up, man, is second to none. So I'm a big Von Miller guy, and I've been studying his game for a long time.
So, you got off to a flying start last year. 5 sacks in the first 5 games, 6 games, something like that. After that, you're still productive, but not quite as. Did people start paying more attention to you? What do you attribute to kind of the fast start, and maybe how do you have a faster finish maybe this year?
Right. I think that's what comes with it. It's the ups and downs of an NFL season. Coming out of year one, not doing much, and going into year 2 and having a hot start like that. Obviously, people are going to start paying attention to you, but it's also taking those plays. You just pay attention to the Atlanta game. I didn't have a sack, but I fed and help my teammates make plays, and that's the big part of it, man. It's a lot of pressures when within that slump period. But I mean, man, it's nothing like going out, trying to figure out what can I do now. Listen, guys, like, hey, man, like every game you're not gonna have a sack. Every game you're not. So especially after starting out hot, it's hard to deal with. But at the same time, man, you just gotta stay in it, stay tuned in, stay locked in with the guys, and continue to go out and find ways to get better. It may not always be on the stat sheet, but that effort and love and support that you get from your teammates is always going to be there.
We're talking to Derick Hall of the Seattle Seahawks. Some of my favorite plays you made last year don't show up on the stat chart. Some of the plays where you just blew up tight ends or tackles trying to set up in the run game. Talk about like what do you how do you get better as a run defender? Obviously, people always think about edge rushers and they're talking about sacks. How much pride do you take? How much work do you do to kind of get better on the run game as well?
I take plenty of pride in the run game. You can't rush a pass without stopping the run. And I feel like that's always been a backbone for me. Just in my life in general. You know what I'm saying, man? Just doing the hard things to make the easier things easy. And I feel like pass rushing is what we do every day. So we're able to go out and stop the run, man, and be able to put your foot down, like just having a mentality like whatever it takes. And like, it's not coming this way. You might as well go somewhere else. And we have a D-line like we do, a whole group of guys like that has that same mentality, man. It's hard to run the ball on. So, I think that's the key, man, and just trying to go out every single day and hone in again on the details, footwork, hand placement, continue to knock back. How can I play on my hips a little more to be able to be just that much better in the run game? I think is huge. All
right. You put together your first truck, I think, over the break. Is that right? From scratch?
Not my first one, but my first big one.
Your first big one?
The first one that big. So I built 2 other trucks, but that's my first one that big. So, yeah.
How did it go?
It was good. Ran into a few problems.
Okay.
Had to get the rear truss. It wasn't the same because it came off a different truck. It came off a 3500. Mine was a 2500. So that's the difference between like leaf springs and coil springs. I don't know if anybody on the station knows the difference, but there's a little bit of difference there. So I had to get a rear upper truss cut and sent to me. But once I got that done, man, it was okay. Extended drive shaft, all that stuff that goes with it. But I mean, yeah, man, I enjoyed it. It has a little bit of. I got it back here and took it to my boy Abe. Shout out to Abe and P. Allop. He welds and does all that, so he helped me with a little thing to tweak it out and get it right. But yeah, man, it's been great. Been driving it. It's on air, so it's cool, baby, to let it up and down, lean it side to side, and all that, man. So it's pretty cool. I'm enjoying it.
Is that like a kind of meditative for you? Do you kind of zone out when you're doing it? Like, is that what part of what draws you to it?
Yeah, by far, man. It's just like, everybody had that niche to get away. For me, it's fishing and it's trucks. I bought mama house this off season. Instead of buying myself a place, something like that, I bought some land and built a shop. That was my big thing for me. Like, man, I want to shop. So I built myself a shop, and that was my first build in it. Obviously, all my other vehicles are in there as well. But yeah, that was my first time doing something at the DH1 shop, man. So I enjoyed it.
All right, a couple more questions for Derick Hall, and then we'll get back to more important things. You said you bought a place for your mom.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be a lifelong dream to do something like that. What was that like?
It was amazing. She's been, she was in the place already, so she moved, and she was like, man, I really, really love this house and whatever. I'm like, do you? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So all last season went by, and got home this offseason. I was like, do you really love this place? She's like, yeah, I love it. I don't want to move anymore. Like, I love being here. I'm like, okay. So went through the process, ended up purchasing for her, and man, that's a dream. I mean, that's second to be able to give back to someone who's given so much to you. Like I know my mom says like she'll never be able to repay me, but I'll never be able to pay her for everything she's done for me to help me get to this point. All the travel, all the games, all the money, all the hospital visits, with everything with birth, man, it's crazy. So I'll never be able to pay my mom. So that's pretty special for me to be able to do something like that for her.
That's awesome. Last question for you. So second year with Mike McDonald, second year with a lot of this crew. You got Byron Murphy, now you got Boy Mafe and you. What do you feel like people should know about this defense? What's the identity of this defense going to be this year?
I think, man, just overall, man, we're going to be a hard-nosed team. I think in the early part of last year, it took a minute for us to gel, and as the year went on, we gelled and got closer. And I think people really took heed of that and we started to put that on notice in the last quarter of the season, the way we play ball, man. We had problems with the run. We ended up turning around, been no one-stop defense, that later part of the year, man. And the pass rush is always going to be there with the guys that we have. So just being able to go out and be dominant every single Sunday and get to that point where it's like, again, no matter what, like, we don't care who you are, what you do, we're going to go out and ball, and we're going to do us. And I think that's the mentality we're trying to reach on this defensive unit.
Derick, 10 sacks isn't enough, man. I think you got 15 in the tank. I'd love to see it this year. Good luck, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you. That's Derick Hall, the absolute stud pass rusher for your Seattle Seahawks. And, this is a guy that last year coming into the season, he had 0 sacks. He's a guy that was still trying to find it in the NFL. He comes into this season established. He had 8 sacks last year. Was a game record at time. His sack against the Lions, Jared Goff, was one of the most dominant sacks, I think, all year for any player. It was amazing to behold. I think he's got a lot more in the tank. I think he can double that total. I really do. And now doesn't have to go into the season wondering whether or not he belongs. He knows he belongs. And he's also got DeMarcus Lawrence, who's already had a number of things that have, he's talked about how they have changed his approach and picked up some things from DeMarcus Lawrence. I'm sure throughout the season that's going to be a big thing. And think about the fact that DeMarcus Lawrence is known for being one of the craftiest run defenders at the edge position in the NFL. Think of all that he can teach Derick Hall in just the season that they're going to be with together. Now, hopefully they're together for more than a season, but even just if it's one season, the impact he could have on Derick Hall's career, I think, is significant. So really, really excited about him. I think the Seahawks edge rush duo of Boye Mafe and Derick Hall, they're a group that I think most people have is like, they're kind of B plus kind of players from most outsiders' perspective. And I think even probably a lot of Seahawks fans' perspective. I asked Mike McDonald about their potential last year, and he said he thinks they can be all pros, and that's a lot more than a B or B plus. I think that's out there for them. And this is, I think, the right season for it to come together. I'll say this, if we don't see the best from those two guys this year, then I do think the ceiling starts to be a little lower than I would have expected. But if they do perform, the Seahawks are really set at that edge spot with those two young guys, knowing Boye Mafe is going to have to be signed to an extension, but he's entering his last year. Derick Hall's got this year and next year. They could have a really good young rotation there for years to come, and we'll see what comes as this season progresses. So really appreciate Derick Hall coming on great stuff from him. And if you don't follow him on Instagram, you should check it out. He's so proud of the trucks that he builds. He is so proud of the fish he pulls out of lakes. And we do have to get him introduced to salmon fishing out here in the Northwest. It's a lot different than bass fishing and all the things that he does. But it's a great experience. So we'll see what we can do there. For folks that are just tuning in, we've got day 3 of Seahawks training camp about, I don't know, a little less than an hour away from happening. And it's a public practice today. So the berm is filling up as we speak. You've got the music out here playing. You've got, all sorts of folks filing in, and it's a little cloudy today. It's almost like the weather understood that fall is, on the horizon and wanted to give a little bit of football weather for people to pay attention to and kind of get you in the mood for fall football. It's a little chilly, I would say. It's in the 60s, a little breezy. It's supposed to get into the 70s later, but it's a little chilly right now. So I'm rocking the hoodie and I'm wearing shorts, and honestly, I could be wearing jeans and be very comfortable in this weather. Couldn't have said that the last few days, as it's been in the 80s and a lot of heat. So I don't know. It'd be interesting. I don't know if the players prefer this or they will miss the heat. We'll find out. But the story for yesterday in practice, as I mentioned in my practice report, was Jalen Milroe really stood out. I thought that he had his best practice. I put that out there, and it looks like that's been corroborated. Other people had some of this a similar point of view. So take that for what it's worth. But I had a fun conversation with my son last night. He's like, "Oh man, you tweeted about Jalen Milroe and it's getting a lot of likes." And I'm like, yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised. You tweet about Jalen Milroe, you're going to get some attention. He's like, "Well, did you do it just to get clicks?" And I'm like, no, I will never just do something to get clicks. But I am smart enough to know, or I guess savvy might be the better word, to know that, if you've got something to say about a young rookie quarterback and it's positive, that's going to get some people to pay attention. And so we had that to talk about yesterday, which was fun. And let's hope that continues. There's nothing I saw yesterday that seemed like a one-day aberration. I think it's just him stacking good practice on top of good practice and play on top of play. And we'll see what they're doing today, what their focus is going to be, how they're going to work, what they're going to work on. And as I mentioned yesterday, that was a non-public practice. So the music wasn't blasting. It was kind of lo-fi and like in the background. And you heard a lot more of what the coaches were doing. I think they were working a lot more closely with the players. I have a feeling these public practices are going to be a little bit different than the non-public practices in terms of what the coaches are open to doing. Because even though there's rules about people taking pictures and video and all that stuff, you're not going to be perfect in being able to police that. And the coaching staff, this coaching staff's pretty, I would say, conservative about letting things from practice slip out. I don't think they want coaching techniques. I don't think they even really personally, I don't think they like the drills being videotaped and shared by media. I don't put most of that stuff up there anymore, but when Mike McDonald says he's chasing edges, I think people don't realize that his approach to sharing or not sharing injury information is, in his mind, chasing an edge. Like his desire to not show his opponents the way that they teach pass rush techniques or, their zone blocking scheme or anything like that is an edge that he's chasing. He does not want to give anything away. He wants to have every single edge he can possibly find to give his team an advantage. I can't fault him for it, even though some of it I think probably is overkill. You never know what's the thing that helps you get the little bit of push over your opponents that you might not have predicted. So looking forward to seeing what happens today. I think my focus today is going to continue to be on the receiver group. I want to see Torrey Horton had a really nice day yesterday. A guy that I didn't mention yesterday that did have a good outing was Tyron Broden, the 6'5" receiver out of Arkansas. And he's had a pretty good camp, I would say. The thing about Broden is he had huge issues with drops in college. that hasn't shown up yet. He's been catching the ball, and he's fast. He's 6'5", runs a 4.3. Like, he's a fast, tall dude. And if he catches the football, he becomes an interesting player. So he's been doing that so far. I'm not sure he's done it to the point where, I'm ready to say he's going to jump out into the roster or anything like that. But he's certainly made it into my notes and made it into the memory bank, and someone I'm going to keep following. Ricky White had a good practice yesterday as well, the 7th round pick, who we already know is really good on special teams. He's making plays with the third string kind of guys, and we'll see if that's, indicative of him being able to take on more. Torrey Horton, I think, is making more plays against first and second string defenders, which I think is more notable, but still, Ricky White's making the most of the opportunities that he's given, and I think that's good to see. I also am going to be really curious to keep watching Elijah Arroyo. I talked about it on Real Hawk Talk last night. One of the things that's cool about Elijah Arroyo is he's already established in my mind that he's got that kind of it factor. He makes plays that are not normal. He makes plays that not everybody makes, and he makes them look ordinary. And in my experience, players that do that have a pretty good chance to be a player of significance in the league. So looking forward to seeing more from him today. And I'd also say Sam Darnold has really put that first, kind of less than stellar practice in the rearview mirror. He I think is really solid. He did throw a pick yesterday. People don't understand, though. I mean, Brock Purdy throws a bunch of picks almost every practice. I think these are not the times to worry about interceptions. That's not really the issue. I think if he's if he's looking uncomfortable in the offense, if he's not being quick in his progressions, if he's not being accurate with his throws, that's a concern. The interception yesterday was actually a good throw. D'Anthony Bell made a damn good play on it. He left his man and cut underneath the throw and picked it off. Credit to D'Anthony Bell. Sometimes the defenders make a good play. But early, like that first practice with Sam Darnold, it was, man, he looked so uncomfortable in the pocket. And then some of his throws were, even against air, were way off target. And so it was just like there wasn't a lot of positives there early. That's gone. When he makes his throws now, in position drills, they're on time, they're with velocity, they're pretty throws. The ball's not hitting the ground as much as it was. So, I think that's obviously, we've all talked about how important he is to this team. And most people, I would say 90 to 95% of people across the NFL and even in the Seahawks fan base are not expecting Sam Darnold to replicate what he did last year. That's like, all right, that was a little bit, that's the best he can possibly be. And it's probably not going to repeat on a team that doesn't have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson and Kevin O'Connell calling the plays. But what if he does replicate it? What if the last two games that everyone focuses on, what if they were the minority of the season? What if they were the aberration? What if he is that player that he's now shown last year that he can be? It's a very different outlook for this team, a hugely different outlook for this team than what I think most people across the league who see the Seahawks as like in the 20s in terms of like ranks of teams. And in terms of the amount of wins they're predicting, it's not a lot, right? 7.5 is the over under in Vegas. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm looking here. I got my tent here at the VMAC, which is very great, but tomorrow I won't have it because NFL Network will be here tomorrow and they'll be taking over my tent, as I'm happy to vacate for them. And we'll have, I think I'll hopefully be able to talk to Robert Mays tomorrow. He's going to be here as well. And hopefully get some of those guys on the show. We'll talk to them and do some fun stuff with them. So make sure you tune in for that. I'll be doing a post-practice report after the practice today. Not sure yet if I will be doing it here or at home. Depends on whether my wife and son need some assistance at home and need me to get home quicker, or whether we can just take it as it comes and do the show here. So keep an eye on that. The best way to keep an eye on it is to make sure you click like, subscribe, and click the bell to get notified. I'm checking to see if there are any questions in chats. Derick Young information. There's questions about Derick Young. I mean, Derick Young's fine. He hasn't done anything specific that's different. And I see people asking if I'm checking chat. I will say one of the things that's challenging about me being here versus at my office studio is I've got one screen and I've got the camera and I've got stuff in front of me. It's hard for me to monitor the chat the way I do when I am at home. So I'm not checking chat nearly as much as I have before, but appreciate it. I do look for super chats as well. So if you have questions there, let me know. But Derick Young, I wouldn't say there's anything. He had a nice catch yesterday. I wouldn't say that he has done anything that stood out one way or another. Looking through here, a lot of repeat questions about Derick Young, but it's great that Derick's got some fans. Derick's a great guy, and I think he's going to have. I think this is going to be a challenging year for him to make the roster, given the competition at that position. But who knows? You know, he is a great special teams player. He's a powerful runner, and maybe he will hold on to that spot. We will find out soon enough. All right. I see a question here. Joe Z says, what do the players do in the morning? Meetings, weights, all the above. They have meetings first, then they grab some food, and after lunch, they come out and practice. So Derick he had a bowl full of protein that he was sitting here with me, and he's going to go finish that, get into his gear, and get ready for practice. And speaking of which, I should grab my food before practice. So I'm going to wrap there. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you haven't clicked like and subscribe, please do go to patreon.com/hawkblogger. Join up there. Also, if you haven't recently, I don't know how much longer this deal is going to be going for, but go to jkboots.com. Use code hawkblogger. Gets you $75 off, the best pair of boots you're ever going to own. I love my JK boots. Not only does it give you $75 off your JK boots, we're heading to fall. You're going to want to have some kick-ass boots wearing to the games. But also donate $15 to the Wildland Firefighters Foundation to make sure that Northwest Forest firefighters have all the equipment to keep them safe while they are keeping our forests safe and the Pacific Northwest as beautiful as we all know it is. So code HawkBlogger over at jkboots.com. I've seen a lot of people start taking advantage of this over the last few days. Like I said, I do not know how much longer this is going to be provided. So take advantage while you can. Amazing deal, $75 off. jkboots.com, code HawkBlogger. All right, everybody, that'll do it for this episode. I will be back with you after practice. Until then, this has been a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoyed the conversation with Derick, and we will see you all later. Take care.